There we go.
Got it.
Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to another episode of the Destroy the Stumps podcast. Today I've got a young man, Tanish Prabhu, who's now working for Cricket Australia. He's an avid cricket fan, has his own Instagram page. I've talked to Tanish before. He's also called Neeshey. He posts on LinkedIn as well. He posts on Instagram. Avid cricket follower, like I mentioned already. Tanish, thank you very much for coming on the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, and also, Tanish and I were just talking about the AFL. This is called Aussie Rules over here in Australia. A team called Sydney Swans uh, pulled off a bit of a cricket score over another team that is now becoming a bit of a meme on the internet now, and I think will be a meme for a while now. They scored over 200. It was like a cricket score. That was insane. But anyways, enough of the AFL. We're going to talk about the Ashes. What a test match that was. Ashes lived up to the hype. Ashes in England, for some reason, just delivers. And again, last test, the first test at Edgbaston in Birmingham, delivered. Danish, what were your thoughts, man? Watching that game, the highlights, everything, keeping up to date. What was going through your mind
Yeah,
watching that?
I still can't believe what happened. I was up till like 4:30 in the morning. When that game ended, I think it was like 4:21 in the morning. But I when Kerry got out and Nathan Lyon came on, or when Pat Cummins came on, they needed like 70 to win, and when Nathan Lyon came on, they like needed 50 to win, and I was like, nah, this like I have faith, but I didn't expect I didn't I thought it'd be a draw, I thought it'd be a draw. Where Pat Cummins defends it out, Nathan Lyon defends it out. Hopefully, don't not bringing Josh Hazelwood on, but these two put on somewhat of a partnership, like a 50-55-61 partnership that won us the game, and with about 3 or 4 overs to spare to avoid a draw. And like the entire test match was great. Like there was a lot of it had everything. Ollie Robinson versus Usman Khawaja. Ollie Robinson being an absolute shock, absolute inhuman person in general. Um, and Usman Khawaja's century, absolutely well deserved after struggling in the World Test final and in England in the last 3 years. And just it had everything, like just the pitch. England complaining about the pitch as well, which is absolutely hilarious because the pitch they clearly made the pitch, so it was a road. We can say that, yes. But at the end of the day, it was one of the best Test matches to that'll go down in history.
100%. Yeah, that's the thing I don't get with England. Like, you guys were hyping it up so much, like they wouldn't shut up about it for like a
Yeah.
in prior to the test match even starting. Australia weren't making a big deal about it. They were just focused on whatever was there right in front of them. Like you got, it's your country, your own conditions. What are you whinging about, honestly?
Yeah.
And like
Like
James Anderson say, like whinging. I'm like, mate, I know it's 40, it's a bit hard for you, but your fans hype you up as the greatest bowler ever. Mate, might as well back it up, eh?
now, to be fair about that, he is the greatest bowler of all time. So you expect him to take like as many wickets, but at the same time, you don't whinge about it and say you just retire straight after the Ashes, after like taking one wicket or at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I I personally am 50-50 with James Anderson over there. Really.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, for me, I wouldn't rate him as the greatest fast bowler ever. Like for me, he's not the greatest fast bowler ever. He's up there, one of the greats for sure, but not the greatest.
oh, I mean,
McGrath,
there's Dale Steyn, Glenn McGrath, Dennis
yeah.
Lilly, but James Anderson's one of the greatest Ashes bowlers of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is. He's in Ashes. He'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Speaking of great bowlers, Stuart Broad seems to just bring his A game to the Ashes, especially England.
Of course.
When
Yeah.
when he gets on a roll, he picks up one or two or three quick wickets and bowls. Excuse me, bowls some great spells and like spells that you'll remember forever. And like it's just and the way he gets the crowd G'd up,
Oh,
they
of
really
course.
get
That's
behind him.
yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Stuart Broad. He bowls some memorable spells. Like the one in 2015 where Australia bowled out for like 50 odd. He got 8 wickets in that one. Well, that was a pretty rough one to watch. If you're an Australian fan, but gee, I still couldn't believe he did that. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He's always been a good bowler. Like ever since the 2010-11 Ashes, he's come back and he's like 2013-14, he did extremely well. And beyond that, he's just one of the greatest fast bowlers, one of the best bowlers England's produced.
Yeah, 100%.
Of course, no doubt, one of the best.
Yeah, exactly. Also speaking of England's, or speaking of some inhumane person, Ollie Robinson, eh? Ah, man. I mean, he talks more in the media than he should be focusing on the game. Like, I'm not saying he's a shit player, but his record's good so far. But seriously, he didn't do much in this Test match, and he's talking a lot of smack, not backing it up. Being three number 11s, like you met in a press conference, you're saying three number 11s, like you why would you try and do that to the Australians of all people? And what else was he saying? He was saying something else. Oh yeah,
Well, he called Usman. He told Usman to. He called it Usman like a effing prick. Like he's 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 a talented bowler, but he's just an absolute uh shitty bloke. Like
yeah. Oh
he's basically like he's just dragging himself a hole. Like digging himself a hole out there.
yeah,
And he's the one who got smacked on the last ball by Cummins. Well, a top edge did for four and won the game. Like he absolutely doesn't deserve any 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 love from anybody. Like apart from England, obviously, but no one else deserves his deserve like should like him for what he's done. Like if he's gonna do that in the Ashes and say that it's part of the Ashes, it's in the heat of the moment. He's probably going to do that against any other team as well, and that's what we don't like about certain players. You can be aggressive, like to the point where you got a wicket and you're like already heated up and fired up. You can be aggressive like that, but to the point of like calling someone a prick and telling them to piss off and saying a lot of all that other shit on the media, that just makes you like the most unlikable bloke in the world.
yeah, I
And
know. He's giving him like a send off when he scored 140. I'm like, mate, he brought the team back in. He brought Australia back in the game. Well, what are you on about?
like, sure, great captaincy from Stokes, good bowling to get Usman Khawaja out, but you don't give someone a send off like that if they made 141. If it was a duck, something like that would be fine, but 141, that's just not right.
Ollie Robertson, and then he's whinging about Ricky Ponting. And I'm like, it's 15 years ago. Ponting's retired. He's been retired for like nearly 10 years now, mate. Come on.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we can say that. Yeah, I mean, Ponting wasn't great either as a person when it came to that. But like, yeah, it's 15 years ago. Like Ponting got pissed off about that run out that he from the subfielder and a bunch of other things. But that's just 15 years ago. Nobody cares about that anymore. It's 2023.
Exactly, man. Seriously. Yeah, he's copping it online big time. The sports bet, all these Australian like sports pages and that people are just giving it to him in the comment section. And he even turned his comment section off on Instagram.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, anyone would for absolutely being stupid.
yeah,
Like
exactly. He's saying like I don't care about it. I mean, you turned the comments off.
he also limited his comments in the other posts on
Yeah,
the
and
other
then
posts.
one of the posts like people are still commenting on. Oh man.
Probably.
Yeah, and also he had a bit of history with India as well. I remember Virat Kohli saying, "Come on, big mouth."
I don't remember this actually.
This was 2021. I think it was the Lord's Test where India won, like got the last 10 like 10 wickets in the final session or something.
Oh, I didn't really get to watch that, but
Either,
yeah.
either that or one of the other matches. Kohli was just like getting in Ollie Robinson's face because he was talking a lot of smack. So he has a bit of a history of
Either
being a
that or he was talking at the stumps for umpire's call because that's what happened. That's what he did as well. But
he
Ollie
just
Robinson wasn't as bad then as he was as he is now. Like that. That's just made him. That's just he just like the media's crucified him in a good way. Like he deserves all that hate for what he's done.
yeah, seriously. Honestly, and the guy bowls like 120k K pies, like Matty Hayden said. But yeah, just on England as well. With the hype with Bazball. Steve Wall mentioned before the game, like very clearly, he mentioned if the Bazball approach backfires, does England have a second plan, like a backup plan? In this test, I thought they kind of the Bazball
They
approach
did.
kind of did backfire in a way.
It backfired, but also they had a slight backup plan, you could say, um in parts of the test match. mainly just like Stokes' captaincy
Mm.
in both innings. But that was pretty much all really. It completely backfired. Like it basically come ball, head ball, and ooze ball exposed Bazball completely.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously. And also question marks on the declaration as well on the first day. I knew that would be a talking point if England lost. If England won, then it looks good. But it's always easy to say things in hindsight or after the game's done. But declaring that, I mean, I thought personally they should have probably batted for about 5 or 10 overs. The way they were going, another extra 50 runs would have been really handy there.
honestly, the declaration is 50-50, but in my opinion, it was a good call because if they went on to make 450, 500, I reckon it would have been a draw. Like, imagine England making 475 to 500 runs, Australia making their usual score of 387, but it's England who continued on to who were on who were with the lead of like 200 281. If they went on to make like 300, then they had a better chance of winning that match by getting rid of Cummins early on or drawing the match if Cummins and Line had stayed on for a few more. So a possible result was England winning or a draw if England continued on to bat. But it was basically it's their fault for declaring on day one, but it's also not their fault for avoiding a draw.
Yeah.
So I okay probably should have said rephrased that and said it's actually their fault for doing both. It's in theory, but yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, no, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I didn't like some of the selections as well from England. They've copped a little bit of like critique online as well. And I think fairly so. One big selection they made was bringing Mo and Ali out of retirement. 2 years after after not playing Test matches for 2 years.
Yes, second
When
retirement.
and the thing is, like, they had a guy like Rehan Ahmed. You know, Rehan Ahmed, the guy.
Yes, yeah.
He's been very impressive early on in his career. He was impressive in Pakistan on those dead pitches. He's made his T20 debut against Bangladesh, and that he's been impressive. And in England, in the English media and the English cricketing fraternity, rate this guy highly. They say he's the future of English cricket. Like they see him as a future star. I mean, okay, if Jack Leach is your main spinner, you see as your main spinner was injured. Why didn't you just put this guy in if you back him? And he can bat as well. He's a very handy batsman.
That's
And
true. That is true. Yeah.
also Ben Folks, I thought was unjustly dropped from the team. I don't think he did anything wrong. He's an excellent gloveman, one of the best glovemen in the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's very unorthodox. He can save you runs, and also he takes some good catches. Very handy, gritty batsman. I like Bairstow. He's aggressive. His
He
approach,
can't
first of all,
keep.
he just can't keep, man.
He can't keep.
His
Like
keeping
he
was
really in
ordinary.
in all three formats he just can't keep. That's why Butler's there for the two formats and Test cricket in case Folks is not there. But Folks can keep and he can bat. Like Besser can bat, obviously. Yeah, he's good at batting.
Mm.
But Folks is a handy keeper,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he was genuinely robbed from the squad. And they brought in Zach Crawley. So not
Uh,
Zach Crawley. What's his name? Dan Lawrence. Dan Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't get that either. That selection, yeah. I thought yeah, exactly. Ben Folks unjustly dropped from the team. I reckon they could have done with him in this match, to be honest. He would have saved a lot of buys. Johnny Bairstow was very sloppy behind the stumps. A few missed chances. England's fielding as well. That definitely cost them a few missed fields here and there, a few drop chances. Some of them were difficult. That gave
Think he would
Australia.
have provided an extra 30, 40 runs in as well. Had if Ali didn't come down the wickets and get stumped after Bairstow, I think folks would have provided at least 30, 40 runs, then probably gotten out. And he would have taken like 5, 6 catches rather than compared to Bairstow, who would have dropped like 5, 6 catches. So it would have been a very different approach had England picked folks in
Yeah,
the squad.
and those buys that Bairstow like missed, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. There wouldn't be that many buys for sure.
yeah.
And um, also there's question marks on the next match as well. What the selection criteria? Will they bring in Mark Wood for possibly the shittest bloke in the cricket fraternity, Ollie Robertson?
Look, look, honestly, well, in that test match, Zach Crawley said they could win by 150 runs. But speaking of Mark Wood, I think he would be a much more dangerous bowler because he's got that type of um bowling where he gets the Australians to any batsman from any team to fall for the short balls like he did in Hobart in Australia in 2022, and I believe it was also the previous match for that. But he's done that a lot. Like you bowl like he bowls bounces and you try to smack him and you get caught. So I reckon Mark Wood. They're all saying Mark Wood over James Anderson, but in my opinion, I think it should be Mark Wood over over
Robinson.
or Robinson. Yeah, Ollie Robinson. But I'd also Ollie Robinson, and they'd also have another change. Rayan Ahmed in for Moeen Ali, just
Oh,
specifically because he
definitely.
can bat and bowl. Moeen Ali came in for experience. He was absolutely shit. Got smacked, injured his finger, probably cheated. Who knows? But Rayan Ahmed, he comes in. He's the Nighthawk. He can bat anywhere in the top six. We've seen that in the county.
Exactly.
He can probably make a few hundred. I mean, he averages 35 with 35 in test with the ball and is taking like 12 wickets. But I think he's oh sorry in county cricket. But I still believe that he's a lot far better bowler than Moeen Ali, but because well you can't have Dom Bess. I mean he's basically like a worse, and there's no and Matt Parkinson's played one game in England was horrendous as well. So Ryan Ahmed's a perfect choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Him
Um,
and Mark Wood both.
they have to be in the team. Honestly. Mark Wood also he bowled on those dead pitches in that Pakistan series. You know, like how it's well documented how dead the pitches are in Pakistan
Oh
the
yeah,
last 1 year.
yeah.
On those dead pitches, he was bowling like serious heat. He just kept barging in, and because of him, they were able to pull. He was one of the reasons why they were able to pull off that 3-0 sweep in Pakistan on those dead pitches, because he just bowled to the captain's plans and just kept bowling
And
in.
he was playing aggressive. Like even as a night watchman, he was playing aggressive before he got out. He was also playing aggressive in all matches.
Mm,
So well, in the one if you he matches the matches he played. So yeah,
yeah,
but
very
he's got
useful.
that he's got that thing. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I'd see him. I'd see him in the next match. I wouldn't be surprised if they have him. Also just with this match, Usman Khawaja, hey, he since last year, since he returned against this very team at the SCG, back-to-back hundreds there at the SCG, he hasn't looked back, has he? 700
Yeah,
since that period. Highest test, I think he was the highest run scorer in the World Test Championship, or second highest behind Joe Root, the 2023, 2021 to
yeah,
2023.
something like that. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
I mean, he was the highest run scorer for Australia in that cycle. And 700s, player of the series in Pakistan, got 100 in India. Now he's dealt with his demons in England. Now he's got 100 in England, and he's got a man of the match award here. Uh, have you ever seen Usman Khawaja bat this well domestically, internationally ever? Like,
I don't really watch a lot of domestic matches, but from what I remember, yeah, he's been really good in domestic matches in the last 2 years, you could say. Um, like a few, like before that, not too sure, but I don't. I think he's done a lot better in the 1 day domestic, like before the 21-22 season, and then he comes into the side in for the Ashes and not for the Ashes, yeah, for the Ashes, and and everyone's hoping he'd do well. He actually did extremely well in Sydney, scoring 200s. Proved Langer wrong because Langer thought he wouldn't bat well with long sleeves. That's what he said, and I certainly believe he could actually play till he's 40. Like if he keeps up with this form in Test cricket, he could play till 40. Like
yeah,
him alongside Marcus Harris or Henry Hunt till he's 40. He's good. Like
yeah,
you never see like someone who's 36 years old making a massive comeback. Like sure, there's Ricky Ponting, 2011-2012 season against India, made like 300s and a couple of double hundreds
yeah.
in that season, in that summer, after a horrendous Ashes series and a
Mark
finger
Hussey
injury.
was there. Mark
Yes.
Hussey performed
Well,
at 30s.
Mike Hussey, regardless of any age, he's just too good. Like he basically had a brilliant summer in that Ashes. But I'm just saying, like like Usman Khawaja, yeah, like Usman Khawaja, Mike Hussey, and Ricky Ponting. They're three blokes who made a brilliant comeback. Well, not made a brilliant comeback, and saved their asses by staying in the team, scoring hundreds. Mike Hussey, 2010-11 Ashes, he made 195 at the Gabba, and that saved his career after a horrendous 09-010 season, and 08-09 season, because he was nearly dropped. And getting picked at the age of 30, that's crazy, man. He should, like, I know he wouldn't have been, he would not fit in the 90s because they already had like Greg Blewett, middle order batsmen like Greg Blewett and the others. But and then there's Ricky Ponting, horrendous 2010-11 season. Does all right, recovers from a finger injury, does all right in the Shield from memory, and it comes back, destroys India. Even after out of Australia's prime, destroys India 4-0 at home. Scores a couple of double hundreds, scores a few hundreds alongside Michael Clark, and he's good. And then there's Usman Khawaja. He's he's basically done really badly in England in the last three tours. He hasn't played in India at all in Test cricket from memory. I know he's played ODIs, and he got dropped. He did really well in the 2017-18 Ashes, but he got dropped in the 2019 Ashes. He didn't play until 2020, 2022. And I believe Shield cricket has very clearly helped him a lot. And coming back in the side at the age of 35, 36,
Mm.
I reckon he's proved himself that age doesn't matter, like Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah.
And I reckon he could definitely definitely play till 40 because he's scored like 200s in that Ashes, 200s against in sorry two couple of hundreds in 1 century in Pakistan, could have been three because he got out in the 90s twice.
Yeah, true.
India, a couple in the last home summer in Sydney, one
Yeah.
in Sydney and one elsewhere, and basically he's basically the people's champ. He's basically he knows he's in good form and he can play till 40. Like there's no other player I know that can do that. Like what David Warner's done.
Oh,
Um,
oh
Steve
yeah.
Smith Steve Smith's 34. He'll continue on, but I don't know for how long. But Usman Khawaja, he can just go on. He can just go on, make hundreds, double
Yeah.
hundreds as much as he can. That's what I
And he
love.
looks
That's what.
happy. He looks happy at the moment playing for Australia.
Oh yeah,
He just looks
he's
at peace at the moment.
mentally and physically happy after a challenging few years.
Yeah, I think that timeout maybe just did him wonders. Like being dropped from the team, it just made him more hungry, and he hasn't looked back
It's not
since.
just the timeout, like because he's Muslim, right? They all thought that even his family thought he wouldn't be picked in the Australian side ever again because he's Muslim. He's playing with a bunch of white guys. He comes into the side, he's just proven wrong. That's how great he is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think it mattered if he was Muslim or not. The guy was performing, you just get him in. But yeah, he's just been amazing, and I thought he's cemented his place in the team for a while now. I don't think
Yeah,
unless he wants to retire, I don't see the Australian selectors dropping him in the next 2 years at least. And he's been one of the reasons why Australia even won the World Test Championship in the first place. They got to the final. So yeah, what good form he's been in. Also, another guy I'd say for Australia, another key part of Australia's win. Pat Cummins bowled beautifully, all round performance, great contribution as well, good captaincy in patches as well.
in World
Nathan,
Test final.
no, in the Ashes.
Oh,
Uh,
of course.
sorry, in the first test of the Ashes. Sorry, I'll just get back on topic. At Edgbaston. So Nathan Lyon, first innings, okay, he got a bit pumped. He got pumped around a bit by the English batsman. Still got 4 wickets. Second innings, he got smacked for quite a few runs in the first 2 or 3 overs that he bowled. He came back, bowled economically. He drifted the ball. He got good changes of pace, bowled tight lines, picked up 4 wickets, 4 vital wickets, and a 4 vital batsmen. He got Harry Brook out twice. Bit of a hype in the media as well about Harry Brook and Nathan Lyon. Harry Brook was saying he's going to take him on. Got
Yeah,
out
well,
twice.
he did also respectively say he'll defend the good balls, and both the balls line bowled to him. They were both bad, and he still got him out.
Yeah, the
Like
first innings one was funny.
first innings was I seriously, I'm still convinced Harry Brook thought that there was fish and chips for lunch and he just wanted to get out. I'm still convinced.
Oh man, yeah.
That was just a ridiculous delivery, and then just decides to leave it. Then it goes to the keeper. No, it doesn't. It just hits the stumps. The second ball too wide, chipped it straight to Marnus. It was a shit ball. Still got him out.
Good catch from Martis though. Got to say,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
really good catch. And then he got rid of Joe Root. First time Joe Root's ever been stumped in his career. Tells you how good of a player Joe Root is of spin. If it's the first time he's ever been stumped, and also I think he got rid of Johnny Besto as well. So he got a few big
yeah.
wickets as well.
He's also got Ali as usual. Always has gotten like Ali for like the 11th time.
Yeah, it's a bunny right there. He wouldn't mind if England play Moeen Ali for the rest of the series, would he? But yeah, Nathan Lyon, his performance, I thought was vital for Australia. Um, in the context of the game and the result, this he was excellent. What do you say about Nathan Lyon? How long? What a player he's been for Australia.
Yeah, nah, he's up there. He's up there as one of the best Australian players, and he's close to getting 500 wickets in this Ashes. The way things are going. Yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest spin bowlers of all time in this decade, alongside Ravi Ashwin. Like you can't find anyone else better. Like he's just he's the most consistent. Like, yeah, he gets pumped for 100, runs, but he still gets like 7, 8 wickets. Like 7, 8 wickets. Like he's one of the most consistent and greatest bowlers of all time. Like this in this decade. Like you can't find anyone better. Like on any pitch other than Nathan Lyon.
Yeah,
Like
and he bowls the tough
words are hard to
overs.
describe.
He bowls the tough overs, even if like backs against the wall, he'll still bowl the tough overs and
Yep,
produce the goods when the team needs it.
yep,
And even with the bat, he's very handy. Played a beautiful cover drive. Some people said it reminded them of Damien Martin's cover drives. But yeah. Anyways, just gonna wrap it up now. So, yeah, just for the next test, what do you reckon is gonna happen? Do you reckon England might pull off a comeback, or
Or I mean, I'd like to see. I think England will fight, and they'll try to pull a comeback. I mean, that's what they want, obviously. But like, I think in some way Australia will continue their performance because they've been dominant in Lords like since 2001, like 2000 2005 they won at Lords, 2009 they won at Lords,
they
2013
lost
they
at
won
Lords
at
in 2009?
15 and 17. Huh?
Yeah, they lost at 2009 and 2013. Those are like the only
Oh,
two
my bad then.
times. That's all right. That's the
Well,
only two times they've lost in like
well, yeah. I
very
mean,
long
they've
time.
been dominant in Lords, so England got to somehow. I mean, they got to look out abroad, but like, there's got to be some. I think Australia can pull off another win.
Yeah.
Like,
If England make the necessary changes, they might be able to. I think they definitely have to get Mark Wood in the team, and just for that added mongrel and just that aggression. And I think Ran Harmon's got to be in the team seriously for Moeen Ali. Guy should have stayed retired. I just don't
yeah,
see the point in bringing him in after 2 years. I just didn't understand the logic there. Um, but yeah, maybe Brennan McCullum, Ben Stokes saw something differently. But when I first heard that, I was like, nah, seriously, they got to be kidding me.
yeah.
But yeah, Australia, would you reckon they'd make any changes?
Oh, I mean, this Scott Boland's position is under fire, but I think I'd give him another chance and bring Stark in for Hazelwood, in my opinion. Um, and that's pretty much all, really. Yeah. I mean, Warner's done all right, so we can't drop him at the moment. Um, Everyone else is fine.
Yeah, exactly. And so what do you reckon? You reckon Steve Smith might score for some runs? I think he will. That sledge from the Edgbaston crowd will probably fire him
Oh,
up.
of course. Like he's sixth in the rankings now after that horrendous test match for him. But I think I think he'll probably get a good 100 at Lords, bit more than that. So will Marnus, as long as he doesn't try to edge Broad again and again. But then he'll be good, and those two will retain their position. Hopefully, if Marnus wants to be first, he needs to like play play properly rather than trying to drive an edge at off Broad's bowling. Like seriously, it's Test cricket. Like that's why it's called Test cricket for a reason. So hopefully those two play well.
Yeah, true. For me, I reckon England might. They'll have to defy history because their record against Australia, dating back to the first ever test between these two nations at Lords, isn't the greatest. Australia has a really strong record there against England, so they're going to have to defy history to come back in the series here. Do you reckon that, like, even though you were very young at the time, do you reckon it's kind of resemblant to the 2005 Ashes vibe, like the early days of early stages of this
Which
Ashes series?
one?
This current Ashes series that's going on, like the 2023 one. Do you reckon it's kind of
No,
similar
I
to
think it's
the?
gonna be more like the. I think it's gonna be more like the 2001 Ashes.
Oh, so Australia winning 4-1.
Yep.
Hmm. Tug, yeah, when Tugger scored 100 there and all that. Yeah, it'll be an interesting series for sure. If England adopt this aggressive approach, just make the right decisions, though, I reckon it'll be a tight series. But I'd say Australia. Do you reckon Australia start favourites for the next match?
Not being biased, but yeah, sure, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Think so? Yeah.
I'd say so as well. Yeah, definitely. And also, I'd see Pat Cummins bowling well in Lords because fast bowlers seem to do well with that slope.
Yeah.
And yeah, but anyways, thanks, man. Thanks, Tanish, for coming on. And thank you guys for tuning in. We're both a bit. I mean, look, I'm a bit cooked. I don't know about Tanish, but yeah, um,
I'm not that cooked. I'm basically just not that tired today, honestly. I mean, I had a nap, so
yeah, yeah. That's what happens when Collingwood wins, I guess. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Stay safe wherever you are. Until next time, it's bye for now.